Namaste. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I thought this morning that I would talk a little bit about being in the moment and a quote that I put up on the Facebook page and a little bit more about this thing, what Nityananda is trying. Okay. And they've paid, $16,000 for, is trying to teach. He talks about being pulled out of the matrix. Okay? Well, in order to be pulled out of the matrix, one has to get beyond the errant thoughts. Okay? That's what this path teaches. You're not going to get it by trying to project powers and say you're a little god. That doesn't help to do it at all. That only creates a bigger matrix, okay, to put it in their terms. Okay, we'll do it in a little language that they can understand, a little Nityananda speak there, okay. They're creating a bigger matrix, a bigger soap opera. Okay, it's a grander soap opera, okay. They think they can use powers in order to project less self-doubt, less of all these dramas. But when you have someone that's out there spewing the most nasty, negative, drama-filled, really demonic spewings, they're not getting out of mind anywhere. Okay? Absolutely 100% not. And so, again, this is why I was talking the other day on dealing with dark forces, etc. You know, if you come upon any of their spewing, any of this drama, any of this nonsense, any of this hate-filled, absolutely egregious type of happening, you get to the first word, you see where it's going, get rid of it. Don't read it, okay? Don't take it in your consciousness in any way, shape, or form. Okay, that's the best way to deal with it. You immediately delete it, block them, and go on your way. So today, I wanted to talk about the pointing that I put up today, which is gravitating to errant thoughts is like bedding down with a poisonous snake. Okay, I'm going to say that one more time. Gravitating to errant thoughts is like bedding down with a poisonous snake. Okay, and so this is what happens if you take in things like, again, these minions of darkness that go out and want to spread hate and want to be as nasty as possible. If you take that into your consciousness, what's going to happen? It's like bedding down with a poisonous snake. It will feed on you. It's going to bite you. It's going to poison your consciousness, okay? We don't want to have our poisonous, our consciousness being poisoned, okay? You have enough to deal with your own errant thought patterns. Okay, so on this path, one learns to, one of the very first things we begin to learn is to be in the moment. Okay, so to be in the moment, okay, when one finds themselves being pulled out into projections about, oh, I'm going to do this later in the future, that later in the future, and dreaming and dream state and all of these other things, you know, and these projections, one comes back to this moment. In this moment, the only thing that's happening is X, Y, Z, what's absolutely physically taking place, minus the mental spin drama that one is putting on it. Okay. Same thing. When one is, and again, this is why all of these ones that they're being fed of doing this projection and power and this projection and power is not going to aid them in the least in the long run. Okay? If you want to get out of the matrix, okay, then you need to learn to be in the moment fully. Okay? The matrix, I call it the soap opera. Okay? Your soap opera that you've created, the spin you've put, the mental story, the drama that you run your life around every day. Okay? Your soap opera. Everybody stars in their soap opera. Whether it's the soap opera episode of the Grand Pity Party, or as in many of the Nietzsche followers, they're in the episode of the great power. The great power projection and the God. I am God, okay? That's their projection now, okay, in their group think. Anyway, on this path, we don't do group think, okay? We're not out there to project powers and try to change this and change that. It's about backing out of this drama to learn to come to stillness, equanimity, that peace, that steadiness, okay, which is not moved, not rocked by the world, okay? Learning to be in the moment, okay? The only way to get to moksha, liberation, you're not going to get there by powers. You get there when the mind has finally stilled. Those vasanas, those things that are driving you, have ended. Okay? And they end when the mind is no longer creating drama. Okay? The mind has to still. One has to remain eventually in that sahaj samadhi state where the mind has stilled. Okay? No projection of powers is going to aid you with that. The mind has to still. Okay? One comes to direct seeing, direct consciousness rather than projection. Any projection is divide mind divisionary. Okay? It keeps the worldview in play. It keeps the mind in play. Again, what is the beginning? In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was what? What's that word? The Word was God. Okay? God in the meaning of that it is creating this illusion, okay, this realm, okay. Again, that's why it can't be spoken of. That's why when you get to that moksha, that liberation, Advaita cannot be spoken of. Because any spoken word that one tries to use to describe it is a divisionary. It's a divisionary thing. Therefore, it cannot be spoken of in a viable way because it is beyond the divisionary mind. It's beyond that divisionary cognition. Okay. So I'll just put that out there. Because they have a lot of people that have a lot of misunderstanding about that verse. You know, if you speak of it, then you can't know it. You know, well, a lot of, again, that's not quite true. You have very wonderful texts that came into being with people, you know, that have entered realization, that are in the consciousness of realization, sages long ago that wrote the Ashtavakra Gita. Now, the Ashtavakra Gita is one that I recommend for those, not those that are still in divisionary divide of mind, because then you want to read it and try to manufacture it, what it's saying, okay, and think you have it, but that's not it. I recommend the Ashtavakra Gita, just like my guru did for me. I had never read it before realization took place. When all falls away and deconstructs is a very, very, very good text to keep the mind, aid the mind to be stilling, and you understand why it's important to allow that to totally die out and not to go back into projection and creating yet again ego and more playing into vasanas, etc. Okay, so again, we'll leave that for now. But the Ashtavakra Gita is very, very, very excellent text when it comes to Advaita. Okay, one that has gone beyond the divide of mind and what it is, what it's not, what is Advaita, what is Dvaita, and the difference therein. Okay, so anyway, so on this path, one of the things we learn is to remain in the moment without getting into your past drama. This is why some of the things, and I used to recommend for some of my students to go to a meditation class, that Buddhist meditation class, where they just sit for 7 days. Okay. And why is that? Why is it beneficial to go to that type of a meditation class? Because what happens is you're sitting there, okay? You're just sitting. And what comes up to the mind as you're sitting there is all sorts of projections and drama. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're sitting there, okay? Because what's happening in that moment? I'm just sitting. Yet the mind is playing this, playing that. Oh, this happened in the past, and this drama, and you get pulled away into that for some time. And then you get projecting out in the future of this and that and drama. And so when you're just sitting for day after day after day, you can begin to see the mind, how it's going, how it's working, how it's creating this soap opera, as he wants to try to say, a matrix. You know, I guess they must like movies, the Matrix. Anyway, but anyway, you'll see that this is what's running your life. Okay. Now, if you sit there and you watch thoughts, what takes place? Can a thought stand out there and have its own life? No. You've got to be having your attention on that thought, which then gives it that life, gives it that energy, okay? So, again, these thoughts, they come and go. Anything that comes and go is not the reality. Okay, the ultimate reality is that singular, is Parabrahman, absolute, that which is unchanging, which remains forever, perfect, undisturbed life force. Okay, the rest of it is the illusion, the delusion, etc. Okay, the Shakti experience of divisionary realm. Okay. So anyway, again, we want to come to a point of stillness. We see these things come and go like waves on an ocean. Okay. Waves take place. They come, they go. The point is not getting stuck in the waves and getting drug out. Getting drug out, okay? See it. Feel the energy of it. And then let it go. When you see yourself getting pulled out into this projection or out of being stuck in an old tape that's playing yet again, same old drama, which I'm sure you've watched that video a million times. You say, in this moment, the only thing that is happening is whatever you're doing at this time. Like here, if something was coming up, which it doesn't, but let's pretend I got something that's coming up in a mental thing, which is gravitating the attention. Okay, stop. Come back to balance. The only thing that's happening is I'm sitting here making this video and having my morning coffee. That's it. The rest of it is illusory drama, and we don't have to buy into the illusory drama. Okay. Again, the path is all about breaking through the illusion, and in order to do that, one has to come to absolute total stillness within. First, one becomes the observer. Okay. They become a witness, the witnesser to what is taking place, rather than the one that is engaged in the drama and caught up in it and running like this wheel that's just, going like crazy. You have to disengage the wheel. Now, for a while, that wheel's going to, if you disengage something, it's going to appear to go faster for a few minutes, and it loses its energy, loses its power, and then finally starts to slow, and then finally stop. Okay. So this is a path of disengaging the wheel. Okay. To enter into that stilled awareness. The first step to enter into stilled awareness is to become the witness of what is taking place, rather than the one that is caught up in the mental spin of the show. Okay. You might go through a part where you start to feel a little schizophrenic when it first start to enter witnessing state, because you're watching what's happening and you can be commenting on it at the same time and going, well, that's foolish, and you see yourself acting, but you've got enough distance that at the same time you can comment on the action taking place. Okay, that's one of the first stages. Okay, you're witnessing the action, witnessing what is taking place. Okay. So it doesn't matter if you're going to do meditation. You don't have to be in a sitting meditation. Please don't think that that's, what one has to do. One can be in an active meditation. If your focus is totally one-pointed focus, you're doing one thing at a time, and I mean one thing, not body's doing this action and the mind is over here doing something else. Okay, talking about you do one thing at a time, fully, consciously. You can be in a meditative state. Okay, this helps to train the mind to be in a singular direction. Okay, you can do a walking meditation, be in the moment. When you see yourself being pulled here or there, you come again back to center, back to this moment. Do the balanced breath. Do the I am that I am, okay, internally, in the heart center, okay? That's when you go in and you are with that God essence directly, communing with it until one finally dissolves within it. While you still feel a separation, at that point you're communing with it. You are going inside that temple, which is always present. Remember, wherever you stand is holy ground, and conduct yourself as such. And this is why, again, you don't let little demonic entities into your temple. You're not going to let them come in and shit in the floor of your temple and cause that stank there. They can keep it in their hell realms. Let them have it in their hell realms, in their consciousness, in their illusion, their delusion. Let them keep all of that. You don't have to take it on. Okay. You are going to go into your temple, keep it clear, keep it pristine. This is why some of the first 3 pointings are honesty, integrity, transparency. Those are the hallmarks of this path. Not projecting powers. It's honesty, integrity, transparency, staying in balance, being in the moment, learning how to become witness first and still within. Okay? And you watch the play happen as an observer. Okay? Not getting pulled here or there. Okay? And allowing these things to fall away. The illusions, the delusions will break. They will fall away the further one goes along their path. Okay. This seems like a very easy path on the surface, but it does take, it takes a lot of integrity. It takes a lot of, you have to maintain your focus. Okay, it's not a practice where you go and you sit there and do a puja for 15, 20 minutes a day, and then you put it away, and then you go on with your life and get involved with whatever you're doing. No, this path is a 24/7 path. Okay, it's the path of the mystic, the path of the contemplative, the one that has to always be engaged in their spiritual walk. Okay, understanding, coming to know that spirituality, coming to honor it. Okay, coming to honor those that are walking their spiritual path. It doesn't matter what path they're on, as long as they are, opening to God, to realization, to that expansion of heart center, to reality, rather than being ego-based projections of drama, of separation, us against them. Okay, that's not this path. Okay, so I hope that this has aided in your wisdom on how to walk this path, if any are interested in walking it. If you're not interested, take it with a grain of salt and go do whatever you're doing. But this is for instruction and guidance for those that are interested in this path. Okay, the Vajra Nirvana Marg. That was the name of the path that I gave it a long, long, long time ago. I haven't said that for a long time, Vajra Nirvana Marg. Okay, but that's the name of this path, Vajra Nirvana Marg. So if you're interested in this path, interested in walking it, this is a very good starting point to understand. Also, watch videos on the starting practices. If you have questions, you can always send me a comment and ask your question, and I'm happy to do the video and the instruction and guidance and give the wisdom that's possible to be given. Again, I'm not constructing a course. You don't have to come here and pay thousands and thousands of dollars to gain the teachings. Genuine spiritual masters, teachers, adepts want to see humanity freed. Okay? It's not about name, fame, and getting a lot of money. What do I need? Okay? I have a place to live. If I have food in my stomach, I have a place to live. What more do I need? Okay? I don't need a golden throne. I don't need props. I don't need a fleet of Rolls Royces. I have my hybrid car. It works quite well. Thank you very much. I don't need the drama of all that nonsense. Okay. So again, we're here to aid each other, and we're here to give out what can be given for those that have ears to hear and eyes to see and want to walk the path to realization. Okay. Thank you. Namaste. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Happy 2017. Oh, and if my daughter happens to tune in, I hope you had a great birthday yesterday. Bye, honey.